And then we fly. Ah, I forgot I was supposed to do the arms with that line. Fly. Ah. Hey, friends. I was just practicing for a show that I'm in right now. It's actually a musical. To be honest, though, I'm a little bit nervous. It's been a while since I've been in a musical, and it's super difficult to remember the dance while I'm singing at the same time. That's why I'm practicing right now, so I can prepare for this musical. And we're also going to prepare you for the world of musical theater by covering a brief background, where we'll scrutinize the history of musical theater in the United States, auditions for actors, where we'll analyze musical theater auditions, and musical theater preparation and practice, where we will examine how to prepare to audition for or to be in a musical and practice a short musical theater piece by following a tutorial. Okay, let's take it from the top. 1, 2, 3. And then we fly. Woo! And we'll open with a brief background. Music has been tied to theater for a long time, as you may remember from our units on theater history. Music was a primary component of Kotewa in Mali, Taichung in Korea, Khayal al-Vil in Egypt, and many other theatrical forms. Now, you may associate musical theater with the type of shows you often see at a high school, a community theater, or even on Broadway. The modern form of musical theater in the United States began with two men commonly known as Gilbert and Sullivan. Before the duo emerged, the earliest forms of musicals were fairly risque and seen as a lower class form of entertainment. Because Gilbert and Sullivan's works were family-friendly comedies, they changed the audience's perspective of what musical theater could be. From 1871 to 1896, the duo wrote 14 operettas. Their work strongly influenced the development of American musicals. Gilbert and Sullivan began in England, but they imported the musicals to the States. In 1878, Broadway hosted Gilbert and Sullivan's popular work, HMS Pinafore. During the late 1800s, Broadway hosted a number of other musicals as well. As theater became viewed as more appropriate and classy, musicals developed and became more popular. In the early 1900s, composers and songwriters like Jerome Kern, George Gershwin, and Cole Porter continued to popularize musicals. Kern included jazz elements in his songs. Gershwin blended different musical styles together, like classical and jazz, to create his own unique style. Porter's music first appeared on Broadway in 1915, and he won the first prestigious Tony Award for Best Musical in 1948. And speaking of the 1940s, the period from the 1940s to the 1960s is often called the Golden Age of Musical Theater. This period saw the rise of the legendary Rodgers and Hammerstein. Composer Richard Rodgers and lyricist dramatist Oscar Hammerstein II created musical theater classics such as Oklahoma, The Sound of Music, and Cinderella, which are still performed today. The 1950s introduced choreographer and director Bob Fosse to musical theater. Throughout his career, Fosse won a record 8 Tony Awards for choreography and 1 for directing in hits such as The Pajama Game, Pippin, and Chicago. His unique style of choreography became iconic. Ever heard of jazz hands? Huh? Well, we have Fosse to thank for those becoming mainstream. And let's jazz hands our way into the 1960s, where Stephen Sondheim began his rise to fame. The critically acclaimed composer and lyricist was mentored by Oscar Hammerstein II. Sondheim is well known for reinventing musical theater with darker themes, non-traditional subjects, and complex music and lyrics. Some of his most popular works like Into the Woods, Sweeney Todd, and West Side Story have been adapted into films. And the 1970s adapted rock music for the stage with rock musicals like Godspell and Evita. African American influence was also brought to Broadway through musicals such as Dreamgirls and The Wiz. And family favorites like Annie and Fiddler on the Roof were massive hits as well. Musical theater was now large enough to handle the introduction of 1980s mega musicals, large-scale productions that used technology and spectacle to create musicals for commercial profit. For example, The Phantom of the Opera featured an enormous chandelier falling from the ceiling to crash on the stage. Woo-hoo. And musicals continued to grow even larger in the 1990s as Disney came onto the scene, adapting their popular animated films into big-budget musicals. The Lion King in 1997 featured intricate costumes and massive interactive puppets. But don't worry, even though mega musicals and large-scale productions were all the rage, low-budget musicals like Little Shop of Horrors were still being produced and receiving critical acclaim. There are now numerous types of musicals, from classical operettas to low-budget rock productions to popular mega musicals for us to watch, enjoy, and even act in. But in order for us to act in a musical, we first have to audition. So let's continue with auditions for actors. An audition for a musical usually contains three portions: a vocal section, a dance section, and an acting section. For the vocal section, you will typically be asked to bring in a short song. Usually, the theater will ask you to bring 16 bars or 32 bars. Basically, that means a 30 to 45-second song or a 60 to 90-second song. Unless the theater requests otherwise, pick a song from a theater musical. When selecting your song, try to pick one in the same style as the musical that you're auditioning for. For instance, if I was auditioning for the role of a pirate in a show that has a very classical feel, I might pick a song from Gilbert and Sullivan's The Pirates of Penzance. Quick tip: creating a vocal book can help you save time. As you audition for different musicals, save your songs in a book. That way, you're always going to have a selection of pieces ready to go. Once you have selected your audition song, memorize the lyrics and practice your piece. Make sure that you not only sing well, but also focus on acting throughout your song. Let's look at an example.
Give my regards to Broadway, remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long.
And now, let's see an example with acting through singing.
Give my regards to Broadway, remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long.
See the difference? Usually, you will need to bring sheet music for your audition. In most theaters, there'll be a pianist who accompanies your vocal audition. Sometimes, smaller theaters will ask you to bring a karaoke track. That's an instrumental version of your song with no voices. In other cases, a theater might not ask you to bring a song at all. Instead, they might teach you a song from the musical you're auditioning for. The dance section is usually taught at the theater by the choreographer. Make sure you wear clothes that you can move in. Typically, dance shoes like character heels, jazz boots, or ballet flats are all appropriate footwear. If you don't have any of those though, a simple pair of tennis shoes or sneakers will also work. Just make sure that they are closed-toed and closed-heeled. At larger theaters, there may be several dance sections. Usually, they are titled Movers, Dancers, and Advanced. If you do not have dance training, the Mover section is for you. It will be an easier sequence designed for actors with less dance experience. If you have some training and are confident in your dance moves, then try out the section titled Dancers. It will be a more complicated sequence that is taught at a faster pace. If you're a skilled dancer, then the advanced section is for you. It's designed for dancers with professional backgrounds or years of training, like ballerinas who can stand on point, or competitive ballroom dancers, or tap dance champions. Sometimes there's also time given to showcase any physical tricks that you may be able to perform, like contortion or tumbling skills. While the audition panel is looking for actors who can perform the dance routines, they also want people who are willing to try. So even if you mess up, it's okay, no matter what level you choose. Movers, dancers, advanced, just try your best. The final portion of the musical audition is the acting section. Usually, this involves reading a portion of the script with either another actor or with a person on the audition panel. If you can, watch or read the musical that you're auditioning for beforehand. That way, you'll be prepared for the acting section. If you can't find it, don't worry. Usually, actors are given a bit of time before reading in front of the panel. You can use your time then to become more comfortable with the script and plan what you would like to do with your fellow actor. Sometimes you will be asked to audition for a specific character. Other times, you may request who you would like to audition for. Likewise, at some theaters, you will read your section of the script with another actor who is also auditioning. But for other theaters, you will be reading with a person on the audition panel called a reader who is not auditioning for the musical. Now that we've covered the vocal, dance, and acting portions of musical auditions, let's learn about musical theater preparation and practice. So, how can you prepare to audition for or to be in a musical? Well, it's pretty much exactly how you prepare for anything else. You work at it. How can you work on your singing, dancing, and acting? You take voice lessons, join a dance group, try out an acting course, be in a choir, sign up for some type of movement lesson, like aerial silks, tumbling, martial arts, stage combat, or more. And remember to practice combining those skills together at the same time. Work on dancing, singing, and acting separately first, and then build up to combining them. How can you practice that? Well, you try the methods we mentioned before. Or you can even try learning from home through social media or video tutorials. And speaking of video tutorials, let's try one right now. Pause the video and move to an open space so you can join my friend Caroline in a quick musical theater rehearsal.
Hey everyone! We're going to be doing Give My Regards to Broadway, which you just heard me singing, but this time we're going to sing while acting while dancing. Let's go for it. So we're going to start by doing a jazz square. Here's a jazz square. You're going to step forward, then you're going to cross with the other foot, then you're going to step back and back. Let's try that again. Ready? Step forward, go across, then bring that first foot back and back. Nice. Let's try 2 in a row. Here we go. Step forward, go across, go back and back. Nice. Again, forward and across, back and back. Nice. So we're going to do this while singing the first line of our song. Here we go. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Get it? We're doing a jazz square while singing Herald Square. Nice. So the next line, you're going to point to the corner, kind of at an angle, and you're going to bounce your knee while you're doing it. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street. So it's like you're pointing to the gang at 42nd Street. The gang is like your group of old friends who you haven't seen in a really long time, so big smile when you see them again. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street. This part's really easy. That you're just motioning to yourself while you sing the words. That I will soon be there. On the word there, you're going to bring your arms up and down like a beautiful sun ray, right? No limp noodle arms, no Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, arg. No, we want big, beautiful arms, straight elbows, beautiful. Let's try this from the beginning. Let's do those jazz squares. Here we go. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Point to the corner. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Nice. Perfect. We're halfway through. Super easy, right? Whisper of how I'm yearning. So on whisper, you're going to come down low like you're whispering, you're telling them a secret. And you're going to move side to side, very gently, kind of bouncing up and down on the balls of your feet. Whisper of how I'm yearning. And then on to mingle, you're going to bend your knees even lower, bring your feet together, and scoop up to mingle with the old time. And on the word throng, you're going to bring it really strong, back down. Old time throng. Nice. On give my regards, at the end, you're going to look to the side like you're looking at Broadway. Give my regards to all Broadway. Nice. So step out really strong. Give my regards to all Broadway and say that I'll. On the word I'll, you're going to pull it down into a pose, almost like you're getting ready to run straight to Broadway. Run. Say that I'll be there ere long. Along the last word of the song, you're going to turn, you're going to face the front, sing to the front. Very nice. Let's try the whole thing. Ready? Here we go. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with the old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long. Nice. Now, if that wasn't perfect, it's totally fine because you just learned it. Thanks for joining me today. Back over to you, Juan.
Wow! You did a great job! And you also did a great job learning about a brief background, auditions for actors, and musical theater preparation and practice. You are now able to scrutinize the history of musical theater in the United States, analyze musical theater auditions, and prepare to audition for or to be in a musical. You also practiced a short musical theater piece by following Caroline's tutorial. Don't forget to go over the practice questions and PDF for this lesson to prepare for our next unit, Acting 101. Until then, remember, in theater, like in life, the limit is your imagination. Hey!